Welcome. I'm Danielle Sally.
And I'm Eva Fusa.
And you're listening to Ghost Boss, stories about the freelance afterlife. Hey, ghosties.
Hello.
How are you doing, Eva?
I'm good. I'm back to the British sounding hello. I don't know.
Hello.
Hello.
Cheerio, ghosties. That was a little, I don't know what that accent was. I apologize to anyone listening to us from England. I mean, what was that?
Do we have listeners in England?
I think we do.
Hello.
We've had a sudden uptick in European listeners. I don't know why. I saw it.
Hi, everyone. Yeah,
we're very excited about it.
We're excited. Sorry in advance if I butcher your accent. We already established I do not understand geography in America, so I probably don't understand geography where you are. But
listen, I feel like I butcher Southern accents when I really try one, so it's okay.
yeah, we're doing great. We're doing great, everybody.
How was your weekend?
Oh God, I had to do my taxes.
Okay, yeah. I did mine the weekend before last because we knew I was going to be out of town this weekend, and it's a process.
So I have somebody do my taxes. We talked about that on another episode, but so I have to go through and make sure my expenses are categorized appropriately and write down my mileage. I have all this stuff. It's just not. For somebody who is, I am very organized, and I've taken
the
executive function test. Yeah, but I know where it is.
And your accountant just does it.
Right. I can put my hand, if you give me 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's somewhere that you can find it, but if not, give me 10 minutes and I can get my hands on it.
For sure.
And it's always not that I don't like to be organized. I do. I just don't often have the time to be as organized as I'd like.
Yeah.
And so anyways, I had to pull all my stuff together and I finished it at midnight last night. I dropped it off this morning and
good.
So it's fine. We're doing great.
Yeah. Hey, they're done. So there's that.
Well, they're in her hands. They're not done
you're
yet,
done with your part.
They're not my problem, which is all that really matters right now. Yeah. So,
that's great.
How was your weekend?
It was good. So last week was a bit of a whirlwind. Speaking of taxes, I was up at our nation's capital for Advertising Day on the Hill, which is an event put together by American Advertising Federation. It's always such a great event. They the morning of it, they brief you on, the things that you're going to talk about with the members of Congress and our senators. And so a lot of what we talk about are advertising taxes, make sure they aren't existing. And then also talking about privacy and data laws, things like that. And so we had a lot of great discussions, and you get all this briefing and then you're ready to go and you head off to the Hill. And so we got to meet with representatives from South Carolina, which was great. And then on the way back, I got home around 2 a.m., left my AirPods on the plane. Was home for about 24 hours and then went and spent the weekend at Isle of Palm. So it ended up well.
Okay. All right. We're doing all right.
I have great sunburn right now. I don't have my AirPods, which is not ideal for when you record a podcast, but I'm here right now and I got my taxes done.
Hey, we're here. We record on Monday mornings, y'all. We're here.
It's here.
We're here. We're
doing it. So,
well, good. Not about the AirPods, but I'm glad you had a good time in DC, and I'm glad you had a good weekend.
Same.
Yeah.
Excellent. At least with the delays out of DC and all that, at least I could catch up on my Bravo reality TV. So I was solid. It was good.
Yeah. Yeah, I have my shows that I watch every weekend. I watch 90 Day Fiancé. I think we talked about that before. Yep. So I did watch that last night while I was working on my taxes. And it's funny. So most of 90 Day Fiancé are verified couples, but every now and then there's somebody on there that it's clearly they're being scammed.
Oh,
right?
yeah, for sure.
And I promise y'all, this is related. Stick with me here.
Following.
Well, yeah. So between watching 90 Day Fiancé and getting oriented to that, and I talked in the last couple episodes that I'm divorced. So I'm recently single and navigating online dating and looking for scams. I felt, and then just being an elder millennial and very media literate and digital savvy and all that kind of stuff. I feel pretty like scam proof, right? Like,
Okay.
I don't think I get scammed. But Danielle, I almost got scammed. This is not about Hinge. This is about my professional life.
How?
Almost scammed. Almost scammed.
Almost. That's good.
Almost. And I don't know if this is going to take up a whole episode, but I did want to talk about it because this is apparently a thing that has happened to several designers. So if you are a designer and you're listening, be leery of an email that you might get.
Oh, it's almost like let's listen to this horror story, right?
Well, I mean, we do have a ghost podcast.
I know. I'm all in, leaning in on you. Let's go.
So a couple weeks ago, I guess it's been a couple weeks ago now, I got an email from someone named Richard. The name's not relevant, but it's just going to be easier to talk about Richard in this context. So
now everyone listening is going to be like, oh no, I got an email from Ricky today.
Yeah. I think it was Richard Gray was his name, which is such a generic name. It's like getting an email from Brian Smith, right? Anyways, okay, so I get an email from this man named Richard, and I'm gonna read you these emails.
Okay.
And you tell me if you see any red flags.
Okay, I will.
All right. So the first email I get, and it's from like a generic Gmail account. That's fine. I get stuff like this all the time.
No. Seriously, if I get a Gmail, I don't. That's already my red flag right there.
Oh, no. When I work with musicians, they're all sending me stuff from a Gmail account.
Okay,
usually, it's something that aligns with their stuff, but I do get a decent amount of requests from people starting a business.
Yeah.
So then it's coming from kind of a generic Gmail account. And this Gmail account was his name and then like a couple, like 2 or 3 numbers afterwards, not like a weird email address, right? So it was like, okay. It says, hello, Eva. My name is Richard. I got your info from, omit the name here, but he referenced somebody that I know.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm. I'm looking to design a logo and catalog layout. Do you have capability to assist with this? Best regards, Richard.
Okay, so far, outside of the Gmail, which that's a me thing.
That's a you thing.
So far, nothing. He listed someone you actually know. He probably got, I'm assuming maybe those services are things listed on your website. So maybe things you do.
Right.
So nothing weird there so far.
Nothing weird. So I respond back and say, yes, happy to help. Thank you for reaching out. When would be a good time to connect to talk through your needs? So he writes back like later that day. Hi, Eva. Here are the job details. Logo design, brand identity creation, catalog layout and design. So right now I'm like, love a scope. Okay.
Perfect.
The company is called blank blank. I'm not going to get into that.
Okay. I was like, that's kind of generic too.
No. The company is called blank blank. Yeah. We aim to launch as soon as the branding and other materials are complete. Therefore, I need the visual branding elements such as the logo and brand identity to be finalized as soon as possible. He provided an About Us section. He said the website's currently under development, will be registered soon. And then here's the catalog information. The catalog should be
content. That's
huge. Yeah. Catalog should be 24 pages, including the front and back covers. Text content has been approved and is currently being cross-checked. All images and full text content for the catalog will be provided by a consultant. The layout and design are your responsibility. The size of it is 8.5 by 11. I only need the digital version as it's not being printed. Its primary purpose is to showcase our products. Purchase will be made exclusively through the website, so there's no purchasing through the catalog. You'll be responsible for overseeing any future updates to the catalog, and the final file should be in PDF format. Time frame, the job must be completed within 10 weeks.
Okay.
I'm not mad.
Nothing
I'm
weird
not
there.
mad.
If anything, I'd be like, this is a client that has worked with a designer before, understands what I need, understands everything I'm going to ask them, came very informed to the conversation. So far, nothing.
Yep. So then I replied back and was like, yeah, I'll get you something in the next couple of weeks. Thank you for the scope. So then he replies back with some more details. And he said, here are further details. Kindly review and get back to me with your thoughts and a formal quote. So he explains the name of the company, like the like how they, because it's a merging of a couple words and like how they came about that. It's a furniture store, so like I'm comfortable. I mean, he's scamming, so like I shouldn't be uncomfortable.
I mean, why are we protecting him? No.
Right? No. But it says it's a furniture. It's going to be a furniture like store online, and so he said all of our products are shipped from Germany. Unlike IKEA and West Elm, their stuff comes from Canada. Here's our mission statement: promoting German culture and building a national brand. Germany continues to be counted among the world's best furniture nations. And so he goes on and on about that. He has a vision.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. To become a world-class multinational company that provides our customers with high-quality home life by establishing a long-term foundation.
All right. This
purpose
might
of the business
be why we had that sudden uptick in European listeners, though.
Maybe.
Now we'd be like, were they German? No.
Maybe they were. Purpose of the business. The purpose of the business is to bring modern furniture that will provide beauty and comfort to everyone. This is all seems fine. It needs to be polished, but this seems fine.
Yeah.
Competitors. He listed competitors for me to research.
Okay.
Including Pottery Barn, West Elm, Crate and Barrel, and American Signature. Colors, orange, teal, and white. Any comments? We're open to suggestions on that. Target audience. We have a wide target audience, but we'd like to focus on 25 to 43.
Okay.
We will provide income demographics as we get closer to. Okay. Logo inspirations. Since we like the brands like West Elm and Crate and Barrel, we'd like you to look at those. Other brands to consider is Williams Sonoma and American Signature Furniture. Okay. Great.
This is all just the second email?
Mm-hmm.
Man, this is a lot.
I know. But I was like, this man seems like he knows what he's talking about, right?
Yeah,
like,
for sure.
And something that I look for in scams, because I also get like the junk emails, like in my email.
Oh, yeah.
But it happens a little bit on the dating apps too, is you can tell when English isn't somebody's first language and not like they're bilingual and live in America. You can just tell like, they've run this through like a Google translator and nobody checked it. They don't probably actually speak English.
Right.
So usually like weird syntax, like not understanding slang, like very strange, like punctuation usage, not like using really generic words or using really formal words. Those are all kind of like red flags that I can tell I'm being scammed, because I get the scam text messages too, asking me to pay a toll in Maryland, and I haven't been to Maryland in years. So anyways, so then he's like, if you could give me your cell phone number so we can communicate a little bit faster, that would be great. And I was like, sure, that's fine. So do you have any red flags so far, Danielle?
So far, no.
Okay. So
far sounds like potentially a great client.
Yes. So I wrote back, this is great. I'll be back in touch soon. Here's my number. So he texted me like a day or so later and it was like, let me know if you need anything else. I would love to get a quote kind of soon. Because, since with the tight deadline, I'd like to go ahead and go. I was like, that's fine. So I didn't get to the quote. I was supposed to have it done by Friday. I didn't get it done Friday. And he checked in and I was like, I'm so sorry. Can I get it to you before Monday morning? Because y'all know I work on the weekends a lot. And I figure, it's probably not a big deal to get the quote by Monday morning. What's the difference between 5 p.m. on Friday and 9 a.m. on Monday?
I have the same conversation weekly.
Yeah. And sometimes like I've got some clients in politics. There's a big difference between 5 p.m. on Friday.
The majority of them know. And I would assume furniture business, probably not a big difference.
Right. So I text him, and actually I'm going to pull up the text messages now. So give me one moment.
Oh, great. I like that we transitioned from email to text. And just to clarify, you have not once spoken to him on the phone yet. So he got your phone number, not to call you, but to text me, which doesn't actually help the communication process.
Well, I will say that is not unusual. Like I have some clients that like that because you don't have to wait for your phone to ping your email, right? Like I think my kind of understanding was that, if I had questions while writing up the quote, it was going to be a little bit easier to text him. Yeah. I've done a lot of work with startups. I've done a lot of work with new businesses. So like that's not super weird.
Text, but if you specifically say, to make the communication easier. I'm thinking whatever you need to tell me is just easy to verbally explain it versus put it in writing.
Yeah.
Because sometimes tone or direction isn't as clear reading it versus just having a conversation with someone. Not that still not a red flag to me. I mean, in hindsight, it's all a red flag, right? But right now, in the moment, it would not have been a red flag to me.
Right. So I sent him my number. He texted me. He's like, "Hey, this is Richard. We just, we discussed the catalog and logo design via email." And I was like, "Hi, thank you for texting me. I'll have you a quote by the end of the week." And so he reiterated some of the stuff in kind of a text. He added that he's like, "I forgot to add this. There are 87 products in total. The images will be provided in high resolution." And then just like a little bit more context, which was fine. "I'll keep an eye out for the quote. Keep me posted." Once again, normal conversational stuff, nothing weird. So I texted him like, "I didn't get to it Friday. I'll get you something this weekend." He's like, "Great." So Sunday night, I sit down to start working on this. Okay. And I write up this whole thing. I have this like long, it's still in my outbox. I have this long email with a quote and with turnaround times, explaining my process and all that kind of stuff. So I decide to Google the name of the company to see if there's anything already out there, because the name of the company was catchy, but I also was like, I'm a little concerned that this might already be taken.
Yeah. Yeah, sure.
Right. So I Google it and something comes up on this graphic design blog. And it says he's going by Richard Gray now, but it's the same thing. And this blog, I found it on this graphic design blog, and then I found it on Reddit. I scroll back through. This post is from 7 years ago, and I'm scanning it, and it's almost verbatim what he sent me.
7 or more years.
7 or more years. Yeah.
That's wild.
80s, like the whole, like down to like, there'll be 87 things in the catalog.
At least change up your conversation.
10-week turnaround time, on and on and on and on. So then I look up the company, like the mission that he gave me and how he explained the company name. And it came from one of those sites where you can buy like a company name and a logo and a like a marketing statement. Like you can buy all that stuff and for like $150, but who knows if you can trademark it because they probably sold it 50 times.
Right.
But it is like verbatim. So I go back and like, he's done it under a furniture store. And I don't even know if it's just one person. He's done it under a furniture store. He's done it under a tech company. He's done it under all this stuff. So then I find an email or find a website with this company name on it. It's just a page. So now I'm like, this is a scam.
Yeah. Now the red flags are everywhere.
But now I'm digging through, and then I talked back to him again the next morning. So we'll get to that in a minute.
Okay, yeah.
But then I'm trying to figure out, well, what's the scam? What are you doing?
Yeah, because so far it doesn't like what. Yeah,
what the end
are
game?
You doing?
What's the end game? Because in the dating world, sometimes the end game is like, I want to talk to somebody and like talk them into sending me money. But in the dating world, sometimes the scam is just people like to mess with people. Like it's the reality of it. Like sometimes they just like to do it and it's irritating, or whatever. But I was like, nobody's just like scamming to scam in the business world. Like what's happening?
Right.
So I had to dig down in this comment thread and I found somebody who like took the scam.
Oh no.
And so this is what happens. I would have sent him a quote and I usually ask for 20% up front for a deposit. He would have insisted on paying me up front. His accountant, which would have been a different person, would send me the money. They would send me too much money. And then they would ask me to send a portion of it back. And then the initial money that they sent me would later be flagged as fraudulent and it would all go away. And so whatever I sent them back as the overage, I've now lost.
Wild.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Wild.
I believe it's called, I got really into like the Anna Delvey case, like when that was like a whole thing and she did some stuff with checks. And so that it used to be called check kiting, when you would write a check for more than what you had in the account, but it would take a couple days to clear.
Yeah.
The funds would be technically available. So you'd go take the money out and then the money would clear and the account would be in the negative. So it's kind of like in that range. But yeah, they were like, let's say you quote them $2,000. They're going to accidentally send you $5. They're going to ask you to send $3 back. You send $3 back. And then a week later, however they paid you is going to be flagged as fraudulent. So they're going to pull all $5,000 back. So you've lost $3,000.
Insane.
So yeah. So I have this whole thing sitting in my inbox and now I've decided just to sit on it.
Yeah.
So Monday morning, he texts me, "Good morning. How are you?" Okay. And I was like, "I'm good. I did some research on your company."
Not great, Ricky.
Right. I'm just going to read you verbatim the text thread.
Yes.
"I'm doing good. I did some research on your company over the weekend and I do see that you already have a website. I thought you said it was still being developed." Because remember, I'm used to talking to these scammers otherwise.
Yeah. I love it. I love that you're like texting him back with the setup.
Yeah. There's a whole...
I know about you.
Literally. No, there's a whole podcast. And I thought about doing it with this, but it would hijack the whole season.
Yeah.
There was this podcast where like this guy got scammed, not through like work like this, but it was somebody trying to get him to send him money. And it was very clearly like some scam. And so he scammed the scammer. It's like 20 episodes of him like calling the call center and like calling, and he like flies to like Africa or wherever it is. It was hilarious. I'll have to find it and you'll have to listen to it. But anyways, so so I was like, "I thought you said the website was still being developed." He said, "Yes, it's still under construction. The page will be down soon." That doesn't make any sense. "Where is your company based again?" Because he never actually told me that.
Oh, he didn't.
Mm-hmm. And I'll get to where his phone number's from in a minute. And he said, "My company is going to be an online furniture store, but I'm based in Alabama." Something in the like on the blogs and in the comment threads about people being scammed. There's going to be a medical thing. He's going to talk about medical stuff at some point.
I love it. Almost a decade of him doing this.
7 years.
The conversation has not changed.
Run it through Chat GPT, Richard. Change it up a little bit. Do something.
Have some variety in your scamming.
Literally.
I mean, come on.
So he says, "I'm in Alabama." And then I said, "But your phone number is from Utah." Now I could figure that out with a Google search.
Right.
But also one of my brothers used to live in Utah. So he has an area code for Utah. I said, "So your number's from Utah?" He goes, "I'm currently in Utah for medical reasons."
There it is.
So this is what I'm talking about with things that small things that you can spot a scam because they don't make sense here. So if I text somebody, like I will often meet somebody, particularly our age or maybe older, that they have an area code that doesn't match where they live, right?
Yeah.
Like I got my area code where I grew up is the same as the area code where I live now. So I'm not a good example of this, but even though I live in a different city, but I got my phone number when I was 19 years old, right?
Right.
So it's not weird for me if like somebody is like, "I grew up in Wisconsin, but now I live in Colorado or Nevada or whatever," and they text me from a Wisconsin phone number.
Sure. I had a 304 area code forever.
Right. Because that's consistent with like, oh, you probably got this when you were 16 years old.
Exactly.
But what he's telling me is that his phone number is based in Utah because his phone number is in Utah because he's in Utah for medical stuff, but he's based in Alabama. It would be the opposite. You don't change your phone number because you go somewhere. You
should have an Alabama area code.
Correct. It would make more sense for him to say to me, "Oh, I used to live in Utah." That's all you have to say. But we know that, which now flags this to me as like, this is not somebody who's familiar with like how things work in the States. Right. So then I said, so he says, "I'm currently in Utah for medical reasons." And I said, "Okay. My brother has the same area code. So it's going to ask you how you like Provo, because it is the area code for like Provo, Salt Lake City, and like other surrounding areas." And he just responded, "Okay." Because a normal person would say something like, "I don't live in Provo. I live in Salt Lake City."
Right. At least like correct you. That is not where I'm in right now. Yeah.
Right. Or, "I like it. The weather's nice." You don't even have to acknowledge anything about it. Right. So then I wait like an hour and I was like, "Are you able to send me the content for the catalog so I can properly quote?" Because I had in the drafted email, I can quote you a logo and a brand kit, but I can't quote you the catalog until I see the content. And then he says, the consultant is not yet done with the content. I'll get you connected with him when he's finished working on it. And I said, I'll need to see that before I can finish the quote. I have everything else drafted. So as soon as you send that, I could drop in the pricing and send a quote over. And that is the last I've heard from him. That was 2 weeks ago today.
Well, we will see. Maybe there'll be a part 2 to this episode.
Maybe. I did not think this was going to run a full episode, but I have talked about this scam for like 22 minutes.
We were thinking like, what else can we talk about? And it's like, we don't even need anything else. This is too good. This is too good.
And I reached out to the person who he referenced like late.
Going back to that was a real person that you knew.
Yeah, she's a client. Yeah. Yes, she's a client.
So that part wasn't a red flag. So did he actually reach out to her?
Yes. And also how he said her name, she goes by her initials and he wrote her name out. That could have been a little bit of a red flag because she goes by the initials that she had before she got married. And then she got married and it changed her last name, but she still goes by her original initials.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So it was a little bit of a red flag, but also I was like, maybe he doesn't know her terribly well. Right. So when I realized that it was probably a scam before I texted him back on Monday morning, Sunday night, I emailed her and I was like, hey, just checking on this. Let me read you the email I sent her. I have the most random thing to ask you. I received an email from a Richard Gray last week asking for a quote for a logo, brand kit, and a brochure. And he said he got my information from you. Everything seemed fine. But as I was writing up the quote tonight, I decided to Google him and the company name. It picked up on some message board where someone said there's been some scam emails going around for designers, and they include all of these emails that I received, and parts of them are verbatim the same thing that I received last week. But since he name dropped you, I figured it would be an easy thing for me to ask you, like, what's going on? Is he real? Right. Like, do you know this person? Like, what's going on? And she answered me in the morning and she was like, I don't know this person. He emailed me.
Yeah.
And wanted me to do work for him, but I'm not taking freelance at the moment. And since you freelance for me, I thought I was doing everybody a favor.
Okay. So she's a fellow designer.
Yes, yes.
And it's not that like it was in the client side and both connected. It was just he was reaching out to designers. She wasn't able to take it on, so she referred him to another designer.
Correct. Okay. I did work for her while she was on maternity leave.
Gotcha. Okay.
Mm-hmm. And so she just came back and she's like, I have an infant. I don't have time for this.
Yeah, I don't want to do
this. She's like, I am so sorry. And she was like, she like profusely apologized. I was like, no worries at all. Like, why would you know that? And I was like, actually, like, thank you for passing on my info. I was
going to say,
you're going to be at work.
No, I'm the one that you referred new business to. I'm pretty sure I'm not mad at you.
No, like, thank you so much. But yeah, so anyways, so people be scamming out here.
It's so like, and how pathetic are you to be out there spamming freelancers? We need our money. We need our money.
Literally.
The big guys.
That's what I'm saying. And it was just
won't even notice a couple thousand. We're going to notice.
And also once again, how lazy are you?
To not even change up your story. You can't even use AI to fix these things?
This is like, I said I wasn't going to go into this. I'm not going to get terribly deep into this.
Yeah.
But somebody also tried to scam me in my personal life. I'm going to skip the bulk of the story.
There we go.
But this person misled me about some stuff while we were talking in a dating app. Okay.
Yeah.
And then moved me to text message and accidentally texted me from his real phone number and his real email address that had his name and it's like birth year in it.
Whoops.
One Google search. Within 1 minute of being moved to text, I was like, he's lying to me. And I'm just saying, everybody, if y'all going to be scamming, you got to be like, just know how your phone works and understand what Google Chat is.
Understand the basics at least.
Literally.
Man.
So yeah.
I mean, I get even just like the amount of, first off, once I started my company, the amount of scam calls and emails and requests on LinkedIn. I'm sorry. People probably think that I'm just the worst about responding back to them on LinkedIn. The reality is I get so much spam or scam, like it's spam on LinkedIn.
Yes.
And so now I'm at the point, if your headshot looks like it was AI generated and we don't have any mutual connections, or even if it is a mutual connection, but it's somebody that I know that just accepts everyone on LinkedIn,
right?
I'm going to be real hesitant to respond back to you. It's so annoying.
Yeah. That's also a thing on the dating apps, AI headshots. I'm like, that is not you.
I bet.
Usually it's easy to spot them. And I was like, that's not a real person.
No. It's just frustrating. Like, I understand sometimes you can't afford it, so you go to AI. Like, I get it. But like, some of these people should be able to afford real photography. And I don't know. I just don't believe that's your face. Sorry.
Well, and I'm not mad at somebody that I can in any context, right? Personal or professional. If I can tell that you've touched up your headshot.
Oh, yeah.
Number one, let's start here. There are so many tools out there now that like you don't have to be as heavy handed with it. Like if you look like you were literally airbrushed in 1987, I have notes.
Yes.
But that is far less egregious, in my opinion, that you wanted to touch up your photo because many of us do it. Your phone will automatically do it in several of the apps that you're in.
Oh, yeah.
Zoom does it. Like when you get online, like I'm not mad at something that just smooths out your texture and like helps your flyaways, like not looks like bananas from your hair. That's fine. Because you still look like you. You're just like slightly touched up. That's fine.
Yeah.
I am a little bummed out when people like do it a little too much. And that's one thing. But when like I can tell this was an AI, like a full-on AI headshot, I think that's so much more egregious than someone who just was a little heavy-handed with a touch-up.
Yes. You know, the other thing, once I added podcast host to my LinkedIn, whoa, they came flying in.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, there's probably some legit ones mixed in there that I just ignored.
We can't.
They probably think I'm a horrible human, and they probably think I think I'm better than them, and I don't. I just don't want to deal with a robot. And I just, it's easier to just not reply.
Yeah. For sure. Yeah. So that's how people be trying to scam me out here, Danielle.
Oh, man. Well, first off, I kind of hope Richard just goes away, but
he hasn't talked to me in almost 2 weeks.
I kind of want a part 2 to this.
I will let you know if Richard or the guy that accidentally doxed himself to me follow up. I've not heard from either in more than a week, so I don't think I'm going to hear from either.
It could be the same person. We don't know.
I don't think it's the same person. But this did all occur within like 3 days of each other.
Oh man, that's a lot for one little, like 1 week.
It was all like right before my birthday too. I'm like, how are we ending?
Also, just kind of rude to like the most time consuming thing is sometimes putting a proposal together. And I think it's very rude that not only would he scam you, but you had to spend time to put a proposal together.
I can't delete it out of my drafts folder because I spent time on it.
Right?
I can't delete it, Danielle. I can't do it.
At least you're ready for the next scammer, though.
I am. So yeah. That's what I've been up to. That's what's been going on over here.
Oh man. Well, now we're all going to be checking our emails for a Richard Gray just to see.
Yes.
He might change his emails up. So but you all know the storyline now. Once you get to the medical situation, then you're near the end.
And if anyone's curious, it's just would be tedious to try to go into all the details here. But if anyone is curious about the blog post where I read all the comments or any of the like very specific language, feel free to DM me. I'm happy to share that. I'm not trying to like protect this man. It just would be a lot to unpack on a podcast. But like, if you're curious, like DM
you're
me
actually also in the scam right now, like please contact us.
Please call me. Find me through Ghost Boss or through my professional page or even my personal page, girl. Like I will help you out. Let a sister know. Like
we gotta protect each other out here.
Literally. So yeah, so I didn't think that we would ever have an episode about how I almost got scammed. What's interesting about it is like, you know, had I not Googled it, I probably would have caught on at some point.
Oh yeah.
Had I not Googled it, I probably would have gone on a little bit longer. because the overpayment thing would have been a huge red flag for me. And what I would have done is I would have made him wait. I would have been like, yeah, I'll send it back in a month.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, that's your fault.
Because by then it's going to pull back, right? Or whatever. Yeah. Or who knows how far down I would have gotten. But
I did have a client do that to me one time. They sent too much money.
It's never happened to me. So I'm like, this isn't real.
It was one of my, early on too. And I remember reaching out to a friend of mine who knew them. And I was like, is this... I'm so confused. I got more money than I needed. And truthfully, what happened, their finance team just put the wrong amount, but I had more projects coming with them. So I just gave them a credit to their account. It does happen sometimes for real.
Yeah. I think it would have been a flag for me if it happened for real with somebody I don't know.
This one I knew, so I wasn't concerned about it.
Yeah. Some of these questions, though, I think where are you based and that sort of stuff would have been a thing. I think trying to prepay me. I've had clients prepay me, but they're all people I know, right? Yeah. I think some red flags would have gone up, but I was just trucking right along. It's 11 o'clock on a Sunday night. I'm like, I got to get this proposal in before I go to bed. And then it turned out to not be real. So I don't know.
Now we're going to be over questioning every potential client.
It's wild out here. Well, and I also it makes me really as an elder millennial, we have a significant amount of like I was saying earlier, digital literacy, media literacy. We know how to navigate this stuff better than some people in our community. And if I almost got scammed with this,
I know,
it just really, it makes me feel bad for, some other people that would have gone further or who one of the blog, one of the people commenting on the blog or the message board or wherever it was this was really, really hard because I needed that money. I really, and they had some story about personal stuff with their kids. They're like, I really needed that money.
That's what I'm saying. How heartless are you to not only do this in general, but to go after the little guy?
Yeah.
Heartless.
Yeah.
Worst of the worst human.
Yeah. And I could have used the money. I can always use your money.
We can always use more money.
I always need your money.
And maybe we should be scamming. No, I'm sorry.
Yeah, right. But I have a very healthy client list. So I would have been happy to do the work and take the money. But I wasn't in a position where I was like, oh man, if I could get this. Cause this one person was I was ready to clear my schedule and work double time because I really needed it for this thing with the kid or whatever.
He positions it to sound like a big deal for a freelancer to take on, right? He positioned it very well. He knew what he needed to say to get someone interested in enough to be like, okay, yeah, I'll quote this.
Yes,
I will definitely quote this job.
Yes. And he didn't say it, but the tone, just because I've had a lot of real clients, clearly, the tone definitely sets you up to think hey, I'm getting at the ground level with this. And I'll be a resource for them later as the company grows. He doesn't say that, but the tone and the, you'll be responsible for future edits and things like that implies that hey, we're going to have a relationship and this is going to be some long-term work. So yeah, be careful out there. If you want to read more about any of this stuff, seriously, message me. I'm happy to share it.
Yeah, please do.
But yeah. And if you've gotten scammed, if you have anything like this, let us know.
This is what we should do during October and have our horror stories. We should just have people send us their scam emails and we'll just read them out.
Yeah. But if you have a scam email, send it to us. We'll read it. I'll give you an update if I hear back from Richard. Or anybody else who's been trying to scam me. So yeah.
We'll have to name it the Richard Saga.
The Richard Saga. Yeah. So be careful out there, y'all.
Be careful out there. We're watching out for you. All right. Well, now we know some key warning signs and we will always be asking people where they're based instantly. And I think
don't take work from a Richard.
I'm sorry, all Richards. And I actually have a client named Richard. Now I'm going to have to be like, are you real, sir?
Take a picture of yourself holding a newspaper.
Yeah, I'll be like, I know about you.
Yeah.
All right. Well, be safe out there. Stay scam free. And we'll be back next week.
Talk to y'all next week.
Bye.
Bye. Remember to follow us on Instagram at Ghost Boss Podcast. And also please like and review us on your favorite podcast app.